My name's Aubrey. I'm the product marketing manager at Hubstaff, and I'm just going to be kind of keeping things running today, along with Cody. He's our chief product officer. And then we're really lucky to have two internal product experts with us. Gabe, he's a customer success manager, and then Lucas, a senior product manager. And we'll move quickly. So you can leave reactions as we go. You can add things into the chat and then add things into the QA. But we'll start things off with a poll. So you should see that pop up in your screen here.
Okay, should be live now. And just a reminder, because I know people will ask questions. If you ask questions in the Q&A, we'll try and answer as many as we can, either live here or in the little QA section. And if we don't get to it today, we will follow up with you and make sure somebody reaches out later.
Yep.
All
Absolutely.
right, cool. The first poll is around productivity, which is why we're all here, I think, just to kind of understand a little bit more in general, how to measure productivity for a global team and how Hubstaff can help do that. So this first one is really just what are the things in Hubstaff that help you determine it? Activity percentage, no surprise, is pretty high on the list. Hours worked, screenshots, meeting time, idle time. So yeah, this is an interesting one just to kind of kick off. I was going to sort of just talk for a sec about productivity in general. What's one of the things that we talk about internally at Hubstaff and try to share with customers is it's it's not easy to understand productivity when your team is not in the office working together and you can see them every day. The way that we kind of describe it is it's a puzzle with a lot of pieces, and each one of these pieces is, either recorded in Hubstaff or done outside of Hubstaff. And to get a really good picture of that, you kind of got to put them together. And so some of them are very much metric-based things that we detect. How much time are people working? Focus time, meeting time, task completion, bill rate, uh, billable, non-billable hours, things like that. Even metrics around sort of proof of work, apps, screenshots, URLs, pulling some of that data together. Activity obviously is a big one too, if people are there, idle time if they're not. But then there's a lot of data that we don't have, which is just like there's work output that's done. And whether that's PRs that are submitted, whether it's tickets that are closed for a support rep, whether it's sales that are closed from a sales rep, whether it's client satisfaction, is the client that you're doing work for happy with what you guys did, then that's a great indicator. So you kind of have to pull all this stuff together to really understand productivity. It can be dangerous to over optimize like one of these metrics. So just keeping like a really good high level view of all these things are really good indicators. And then knowing that some of them are more lagging than others. And so there's a lot of people that don't use tools like Hubstaff, and it takes a while to see that work hasn't been done or it's late and it's not to the level it should be. And then you just kind of lose time. And so that's one of the value props is these initial indicators come in very quickly and you can see fast if some of these pieces of the puzzle and understand how productive is my team being. So that's kind of the quick overall way we like to describe it. I'm curious now to ask one more question, just to throw it in the chat, not a poll. But what are some of the ways that you think about productivity outside of Hubstaff? So outside of our metrics, apps, URLs, activity, utilization, what are some of the things you look at with your team to say, this person is performing great, this person maybe needs some more help? Throw that in there. We're curious to see how you guys, what are some of those other things you use to measure? And from there, we're going to shift over and I'm going to pass it over to Lucas. He is our insights expert. He's the product manager for that team and that part of the product, and he's going to share a little bit more about the insights add-on that we have and some of the features that go with it.
There we go. Thanks, Cody. Super interesting, the poll's results. And meeting time is not something people really care. Like, I think was the lowest. All right. Let me share. Okay. All right. Am I sharing the right thing?
Yep, looks good. I launched a poll too. We're curious if you're currently using Hubstaff Insights. That's what Lucas is going to focus on for this first chunk today. So curious if you're already using it or not, or if you're interested in using it. So go ahead and respond to that poll. I'll kick it over to you,
Oh,
Luke.
that would be super helpful. Also could help us tailor a little bit of what we show here and some show some interesting takes on the different uh, point of view for insights. People are mentioning work time classification and focus time are two
Mhm.
things I think are very useful. I totally agree. Those are ones of, I think they're amongst the preferred ones that our users use it.
Mhm.
Work time classification is really nice.
Yeah. NPS scores as well, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like about 50% of people joining are currently using Insights, a little over 50. So that's good to see.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Cool. Do you want me to reach away until the poll finishes, or should I just go?
Let's go ahead and kick it off.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so I'm on the product team here at Insights, and I'll show maybe three ways, different ways that we can turn raw time tracking into more actionable opportunities for coaching your team members or improve productivity, as some might have mentioned in the chat as well. So keep coming, the questions, the comments, we're gonna address as we see, or at least in the end. But yeah, so the first thing is the performance page, what we're just looking at here. And this page like gives managers, leaders like a single glance view of productivity. And the utilization here on the left answer a very simple question. How many time have the team actually worked compared to whatever target we have? So the first thing is everything here is customizable. In this case, we're looking at our customer success team here. And Gabe, keep me honest here if I'm saying something that customer team should not be doing in my examples. This is just, manufacture fake data in any case, but we're going to use customer success as example. So the target for them is like 7 hours, 12 minutes per day. And we can see like for last week, they are just right on target. So this is the simplest view. Next, we have the work time classification, and people have mentioned it in the chat. And what this does is we slice the time invested by the team members into core, non-core, and unproductive time. And core is value creating work. And if we think for customer success, it's maybe going, talking to customers, working on the CRM, like in this case, like HubSpot, or, using Hubstaff as well, like to look at for customers and help them sort through things. Um, Non-core is the necessary overhead that we need to do our jobs. For example, Slack messaging or internal communications, or like in this case, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a good helper for lots of people. And unproductive is the things that you don't want people to be investing time. So like maybe social media, for instance, like Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, and stuff like that. What is nice to mention here is all this being configurable, not the same things will mean the same for different job roles and job titles. So for instance, Instagram might be unproductive for most people, but for a social media manager role, it should be core. It's probably core work, right? So that's the beauty here on trying to set up to your own context. We can see like 51% in this case, customer success 2 for last week is on core. Um, and the very nice thing is you can compare to your company average, to your peers or industry standards. And this is looking at your L Corp, which is our demo organization, that the range is 44 to 65%, and they're somewhere almost in the middle of that range. Okay, and then we got um,
Lucas, sorry, I know you have a flow. I'm totally messing you up. Could you click on the settings real quick? A few people are asking about adjusting the core, non-core, and
Mhm.
unproductive. And so
okay,
showing that setting, I think would answer a lot of questions, which is you can set a job type for different people. And then in the settings here, you can very easily select a job type and say for whatever it is, this app or URL is core work, it is non-core. As you said, social media is one that's kind of stands out as probably unproductive for a lot, but for some it's core work. So it's super easy to do. I thought that would be a little quicker than me trying to answer.
Yeah, as simple as that. In a few seconds, here's the job type, here are the URLs and apps, and just change Financial Times to unproductive, Gabe. Is that okay? So
That's
yeah,
perfect. And a quick tidbit as well, for those of you with some large scale teams, you probably don't want to go in and have assign job types one by one. So we do, just to point out, we do have a batch importer to make adjustments in bulk as well. So just wanted to point that out.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Focus time or daily focus. And here's like we're measuring deep work on one task or project, and activity is mouse and keyboard movements to round out the picture. So customer success might be low in this exact example for daily focus, like 23%. And if you look at the company's average, which is from 30 to 52%, they're on the a little bit below the lower end. And what is interesting here is maybe that's because of their job type, and so they are jumping between meetings and talking to different customers, so that's the nature of their job. The other part is we can see is activity rate. So activity rate, if you look at the 53%, they are on the higher end. So while they might multitask and jump from task to customer, um, they are very active on the higher end for the company. So that's the configure part of the dashboard. So you can filter by, also sort, select different teams, team members, or even individuals, and of course different time frames. And additional widgets give you fresh angles on team behavior, like meetings, time spent, work time breakdowns, top apps and URLs. This one people also like pretty much to know what is the most used apps and URLs for your team. But the widget managers like the most. Um, are we having problems with screen sharing? Maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
just double checking. There was one person struggling
Mhm.
with it, just making sure everyone was seeing it. It's visible. Yep, we're all good.
Thanks. Thanks, team. Okay, so leaderboard, one of the most loved widgets because it breaks down the team into the individual level, and it breaks down the time spent, the activity rate, and the core work classification, the core, non-core, and non-productive that we've just talked about. And if you click on any headers, you can just sort by, to identify the top performers or people that deserves a bit more attention. In this case, like Jennifer, it's like has the lowest core work on at 43%. As simple as that. I'm gonna move now to unusual activity page, and unusual activity flags work patterns that deviate from millions of anonymized user hours we have in Hubstaff. So last week, let me select the last week here. Um, Only 3 members with 5 instances with about 16 hours total of potential time waste. And we say potential time waste because unusual activity is a signal, not a judgment, and different roles might behave differently. So that's super important to understand using Hubstaff, because it's up to you, manager, to make the decision and understand if that applies to your context. And again, it's all configurable. So we grade each instance from low confidence or slightly unusual to high or highly unusual. And high means a pattern that is rare enough to warrant a closer look. Example, this one, Emmy. Emmy logged 6 hours and 20 minutes and had 2 instances. of uninterrupted blocks where activity never dipped below 30%. And this could be a super heroic focus. And that happens. Sometimes you have people who has to do focus work, but also could mean they forgot the timer or or in a worst case scenario, they have been using like fake activity apps or trying to fake activity being used. Either way, it might be a coaching moment. So managers can just jump straight to this model and understand more about that context and go to the screenshots as well to confirm before starting any conversation. So the bottom line here is it's signal. Unusual activity is signal, and you can use that to spot burnout or mislog hours or process gaps early. I want to have one more thing to show, which is one of my preferred new things that we've been working on. But I want to throw a question if you guys can answer it in the chat. I think that would be okay. When we have these notifications, people use a lot of Hubstaff here. I understand like 50% plus are using Hubstaff, maybe Insights. Is that the question we did, Aubrey? Using Insights or using Hubstaff? Using
Yep, we
Insights.
had insights.
Okay.
I think
So
over 50%.
perfect. So those instances and informations goes to the managers or owners roles in Hubstaff. Would anybody be interested if Hubstaff could notify the team members directly, in this case, Emmy, about those unusual activity instances? So you can just drop reactions, a thumbs up here. Yeah, you don't need to use the chat. Just a thumbs up could be okay as well.
Awesome. Getting some reactions.
Here we go. And thumbs down if you don't think that would be interesting. Okay,
What's up?
nice.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Cool. Keep them coming, but I'll move to one of my preferred features and areas of the Hubstaff Insights, which is smart notifications.
And I launched a poll too. Sorry to interrupt, Lucas. Just curious who's currently using smart notifications. If you're interested in it, not interested.
Yeah, thanks, Aubrey.
Yeah, it looks like the percentage is a little lower on this one. It is a newer feature, so looks like it's about 33% of you are currently using it.
Okay, that's great. You guys should be checking it out, especially if you already have insights. That is a must-have because what I've shown so far is how do you hunt for red, yellow flags, right? And smart notifications helps you push the insights to you. So you don't need to leave here in the tool or the dashboards. And you move from reactively going to see what's going on to proactively being notified. And I love that. So example, say we used our low core work example, right? For social media. I go to the templates and I have one template here called members with low core. And in a click of a button, I have the default settings. So every time core work is below 25%, in this case, it's saying every week. So I'm just going to change it to every day because I want to act upon it once it happens. I want to do faster coaching. I'm going to select that team. So remember Jennifer as our example. So I'm going to select our customer success team to do this smart notification, and I'm going to send the notification for myself. In this case, I'm Owen Hardy, and I'm going to send it via email. I click save, and this has already been taken because I already used for another demo. So that's our members with low core work too. Once I save it, it's it's done. Like in under 30 seconds, you set it up and you'll be notified every time this triggers. And you can set as many rules as you can, overworking, underworking, unproductive time. For example, if we want to monitor specific URLs and everything that I've just shown, you basically can create rules to take a look at proactively. So you don't need to leave in the dashboard. All right. I think that's how Hubstaff, I think that's all that I have to share for now. And that's definitely how Hubstaff helps turns, the data, the raw data for time tracking to more automatic, proactive, and actionable nudges. So instead of just bringing more reports. So performance shows the bigger picture, unusual activity spots anomalies, and smart notification makes sure nothing slips through the cracks and puts you on autopilot and all in minutes a week, saving, a lot of work, a lot of time, and helping your team to keep your team accountable as well. I think that's it, Aubrey.
Yeah,
For
we'll
now,
go to Gabe. He's going to talk. He works directly with our customers a lot, so he's going to share a customer story about using insights. So I'll hand it over to you, Gabe.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Aubrey. Welcome, everybody. So, like mentioned, my name is Gabriel. I work for the success team, been here for a while. And yeah, very excited today to show you a real life use case of a great customer that we have that's been with us for a while. Before I transition to that, I did just want to mention I saw someone ask within any of these productivity dashboard widgets that we have in Insights, do we have any industry standards? The answer to that is we do. So, for example, if I share my screen here, let me know if it shows, Aubrey.
Yep, that looks good.
Okay, perfect. So just wanted to show this really quickly. Let's take the daily focus, for example. If you look at the bottom, this is where we kind of show where your sort of company and industry lies in terms of where you're falling within those metrics. So feel free to always look at the bottom of each widget, and we should be showing those benchmarks and more or less where you stand. Awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and transition to what I definitely am very excited to show you today, a real life example. Once again, we have had this customer with us for a while, and they were very kind in us and generous with their time to share a case study with us. So they're called My Biz Niche. They are a full dynamic digital agency out of Arizona. They have teams all over the globe, which is one of the reasons they also were interested in looking for a remote productivity dashboard like Hubstaff. Been here since 2014, so really a legacy customer. If you have any projects in terms of the marketing world, feel free to give them a shout. Aubrey, I think we're going to have the link to the case study somewhere in the chat, and then the link to their official website is also there. So please feel free to check them out. But to get to how Hubstaff has been able to help them, so Lauren Klesser was the ops manager over there, and she was kind enough to mention a couple different things in terms of how Hubstaff in general has been able to streamline some internal processes, even by 25%. So before, one of the things she mentioned was that her managers were on a lot of manual uh, admin work. So for checking things like timesheets, checking things like productivity, going one by member, they were spending a lot of their time on spreadsheets. So what Hubstaff as a whole was able to accomplish for them was to mitigate that manual work down roughly by 10 to 15 hours. Our time off approval system was also something that really helped them out and streamline, requesting time off and approving time off. And in turn, all that manual work going to a more automated process that allowed their managers to really focus on the well-being of their staff, and that boosted client satisfaction, which is great. And that's exactly what we want to see for teams. And one of the key metrics that I'm going to demonstrate today that they really were able to streamline was their workload allocation within Insights. So checking for things like burnout, checking for things if people are underworking or maybe overworked, for example. If I switch to the next slide here, we can even see a direct quote from Lauren that she mentioned. We use insights to ensure workloads are balanced across the team, preventing burnout. So that's definitely one of the elements within insights that the team would agree that is one of our goals. We want you, from a manager's point of view, to really get down into the analytics and see not just the productivity of your team, but who might be struggling a little bit. Maybe they need to just pick it up in terms of KPIs, but also maybe their activity is a little lower because they're just burnt out. So my business, for example, we're able to set up a smart notification to help monitor for that on a frequency. So let me do that. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to my test account. And I believe Lucas was showing off some smart notification stuff before, but this would be in that same page. If you go to create new custom notification, um, my business specifically had it for monitoring for every day. And this is the specific metric that they've been utilizing. So average activity rate. And they wanted to see all the members that were averaging below roughly 20% of activity. For those of you with some experience with Hubstaff, you'll know that's actually quite low. To be averaging an activity rate in Hubstaff of below 20%, that's quite low. So obviously from a manager's point of view, not only for my biz niche, but this is something that would be very helpful for you to look at on a daily basis or whichever frequency option suits you, so that you can just pull and get that information faster rather than having to be on the dashboard all day or fish for it in the reports or go member by member. That's just not scalable. So what my biz niche was able to accomplish with this was to really get down in terms of who was below an activity, and then they could go and check those screenshots. Then they could go and check their app and URL usage and really get down, okay, is this person really burnt out? Or maybe they need to pick up their productivity a little bit.
Yep.
Um,
And sorry, Gabe, we might want to leave a second here for Q&A right at the end,
Absolutely.
just answering a few questions as they've come in. Cody, have you seen anything come in that we might want to cover quick?
Yeah, I've been working hard to answer everything I can in there. So hopefully people are getting what they need. The common ones, I think Lucas answered some too. People are interested in changing daily work targets for the utilization widget, smart notification that Gabe is talking about here, and sharing some of the different metrics you can choose, classifying core work, non-core work based on job type was another one. Um, those are kind of the most common ones. A few people have asked about cell phones, if they have
Hmm.
people who are working on phones. We do have a mobile app actually that works great. You can track time and locations on it for your team if they need to. But unfortunately, most phone operating systems don't allow us to pull in the data that that people are interested in, which is like what apps are they using on their phone, take screenshots of their phone while they're working. We're just not allowed to have that data. So there's kind of a limit there. But if you haven't tried the mobile app, it does work really well, especially if you have people who are out in the field and moving about and not always on the computer. And any other questions, again, that we haven't got to yet, we'll follow up. We'll make sure we get everything answered. We appreciate you guys, putting those in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll follow up with all of those questions. And I sent out a poll here. Um, it's really helpful for us to see if this was, a helpful webinar, what you want to see in the future. We plan to host more of these, and do more training sessions just like this. So it's kind of a wrap for today. We wanted to keep it pretty quick, but we really appreciate everyone showing up, asking great questions. Maybe we can drop a round of virtual applause in the chat. Thanks for all of our presenters and thanks for joining us. So we'll see
Yeah.
everyone next time.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you. Thank you guys so much.